right, so let's keep on going here and jump into the next thing I want to talk about. So up on the shared screen right now, you should see a website that is called cyberseek.org. This is pretty cool, and I just want to briefly explore this. It's got a few different things that you can look at, an interactive map, as well as career pathways. So anybody that's wet behind the ears in the cybersecurity arena, meaning that you just got your toes in and you're looking to maybe where you need to go, or people that have been in 5 to 7 years that, hey, what's the next step in logical progression for me? You may want to take a look at this because it has this career pathway, which is kind of sexy. What it does is it really blends in. Let me zoom in a little bit here. It really blends in a lot of pretty cool opportunities that are out there. Whether or not I agree with some of the pricing on the salaries, that might be whack. A little lower in some areas, a little higher in other areas, but generally I think that they got it pretty good. The entry level is kind of sus, as my kids say. I don't know if an auditor could be entry level. I mean, to audit things, you got to have some good experience already. But 80K, that sounds about right. Incident response, 100K. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Here in Huntsville, we have a large contingency of the FBI, 100K there as well. So it pays pretty well. It's somewhere in between 80 and 100, depending on how good of a negotiator you are, and obviously your background and degree for the entry level. Cool thing is they have this feeder role, and the feeder role is broken up into different categories, and then it kind of shows you dovetails from where cybersecurity specialists can go into. What I see, I'm teaching 2 courses this fall for UAH, and those are seniors and masters. Many of those people want to become a penetration tester. That is like the sexiest title that we have in our business. However, in order to be a tester, a penetration tester, you have to have the willingness to fail over and over and over and over and over again. And I think that a lot of young folks that are coming out into the fire of cybersecurity arena don't realize that things aren't going to work the first time that you try it. And from based off of many of your guys' backgrounds, I think you understand what I mean. There's no easy button, and cybersecurity really is not a spectator sport. You have to really, put your whole being into it. You got to stay up with articles, reading constantly, playing with new tools. So this is a pretty good tool. Whether or not you agree with the salaries, I kind of like, how all the lines show you where you need to go. But this isn't really the cool thing yet. Over here, they have the skills. You can see the CISSP. It leads to the cybersecurity engineer, the manager, consultant, and architect. You can go and look at some of these other certifications as well, but that kind of makes sense to me. What is really neat is if you go over here to this interactive map, let's look at San Diego. Let me just look at that real quick, because I haven't looked at that in a long time. So if I was to come down here, look at that, 5,700 jobs in the greater San Diego, Carlsbad area, 5,700 jobs. So when I scroll down here, there's 14,000 and change that currently are employed. So if you remember the salaries that I just showed you, those people are working 9 to 5, making over 100K already. But there's currently 5,700 jobs in the San Diego area that are broken up categorically, as you see down here, certification holders. So everybody and their grandma has the Security Plus. The CISSP is becoming more popular, but look at this right here. When I go over here, openings to requesting certification, 760 people, or 760 jobs are currently available in the greater San Diego area for people with the CISSP. That's a big deal. So if I go back to, for instance, the Huntsville area, and I look in the great state of Alabama, there's 88, almost 9,000 jobs. If I just focus in on, the Huntsville, currently we have 4,900 jobs, almost $5,000. And look at this right here. Same sort of thing that we're seeing. There's plenty of jobs making the 80K to 100K with Security Plus, but the next tier of salary comes with the CISSP. So if you're looking to make over six figures, up north of 200K, and you have the chops to back it up and negotiating skills to get there, then 714 jobs are available in the Huntsville area. When I go around the horn, typically for other organizations, and I ask, what the heck are you doing here? People are either on their own accord showing up and paying for it for their own boot camp, or their job function, like ISSOs, ISSMs, need the CISSP. Well, in Atlanta, currently, there's 2,100 people that have the CISSP. Watch this right here. 21, there's almost as many jobs. Almost as many jobs in Atlanta for people that need to have the CISSP. And so what does that mean? The idea here, or the notion of that, means that we have a supply and demand issue. And so that is fantastic for you guys, because usually what we see is that people that get this certification can get 20 to 30% more than they're making right now. Just to give you an example, if you're making 100K right now, that you could make 130K. There's one catch. What do you think that catch is? Number one reason that you can demand more jack is you have to switch jobs. Yeah, leave your employer, Jabbar, to get a new job, which it kind of sucks if you're currently happy. Yeah, Brandon, if you're currently happy with where you're at, just know that in our market, I remember when I was leaving SAIC, the large government contractor, I got offered a civilian position, and my mom, she told me I was crazy for not taking the civilian position at a high GS level. I remember back then, that was over 10 years ago, that my rationale when I was talking over with my wife was that I could make more money doing different things for all sorts of different companies all over the United States than I could if I was just in a government position and so back then it wasn't the right fit for me. But if it did come up now, I would definitely entertain that. Essentially, yes, you'd have to switch jobs. Obviously, you probably, while I was yapping there, you'd look at some of these other pockets of data sets in the Virginia area. You would think that there's a large constituency near the DC Metro, Baltimore. We have customers in DC. We have customers up in Bethesda. And so just to take a look at the nation's capital here, ton of people that have CISSPs, ton of people that have Security Plus. Look at this. They need 11,000 people. Right now, there's 12,000 CISSPs in DC, and they have 11,000 jobs in DC. So if you're willing to embrace the suck even more than Atlanta traffic and go up there to the DC metro area, hella jobs up there that you could go and make some magic happen. There are deeper pockets for some of the other parts in the United States that you could go and take a look-see at. Obviously in Florida right now with some of my mom was affected by the Hurricane Helene, and her condo right on the water, totally devastated. So if you're into incident response, disaster recovery, especially from June to November when it's hurricane season, that would be something to think about if you like the beach life as well. So at a high level, supply and demand, yes, you are the miggity Mac Daddy when it comes to certifications.